Yeah, I think there was one eventually. Oh, hello. Oh, say it. Thank you,
Hello.
Char. So it should say the 24th if you had one from before.
Okay, I
Okay,
just printed it. Okay.
so what we've done, I guess we're gonna start with bullet one, which isn't in there. What is happening? Oh, that's my little one. Okay. Is let's try to figure out what we're gonna do on Friday. We have a lot done. For example, these are like little things that we talked about. We do not have a cake. I don't know if we need a cake. We did 100 of these. And basically there's little seeds in here, like sunflower seeds, and then Janae's got another little basket that has bookmarks and things like that for
Oh,
100
yeah.
people.
Well, that's
So
nice.
that's kind of nice. And I thought, gosh, do we need cake? People, it's 2 o'clock in the
I
afternoon.
don't like, I mean, personally, I think cake is like, it's there and it looks pretty,
I
then you cut
know.
it and nobody.
And
Doesn't
nobody
taste
eats it.
very
Thank
good,
you.
yeah.
So we're not gonna do any more food than
And
that.
it depends on if they're there after you cut it. If they're not, if they're there before you cut it, since this is an open house.
And how do you, it was really hard the last time to rein people in because they're all they're talking, and it's like,
Yeah.
stop. Why do I want to stop
Like,
this
even at
conversation?
my kids' graduation parties, we just had like Holland Farms made the mini half moons and the school
Mhm.
colors or whatever, because with the first one, it was like, I had all this stupid
Yeah.
cake.
And I don't even know if we need cookies. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
know.
We could have cookies, but anyway, that's a thing.
Yeah, I think
that-
cookies is a better choice than cake.
So
in
do
my own
we
opinion,
need that?
because
Or
people
do
can
we
get it.
not care to feed people?
Mhm.
You can stew on that. Okay,
Mhm.
Sue
Yeah.
has agreed to say some things. In the, I could have printed out the open house thing, that in the open house, it kind of gives the, like the highlights of stuff, the blurbs of, you could do that. And should we do that? Sure. You don't want to run.
Because,
Of
yeah,
what
I
to
mean,
say.
it took a while to decide what we were gonna do with the building.
All that.
So
Other-
if you want to, if you want me to say something like, we had discussions and
The Landmark
consulted
Society
with
did.
people and, on the
article.
best way
Okay.
to use this, for modern times. It's an old building.
Mhm.
It's not convenient. The way it was laid out. I mean, there it was, but it wasn't convenient and it was dark and so on.
Yeah. So
And now we've honored the old building with all the beautiful woodwork
Mhm.
and all that kind of thing. And made it work for the present and the future.
mhm. That's good.
Very good.
I'm going to record it Facebook Live, just to let you know, which is not a big deal. I mean, not everybody sits there on Facebook
Mhm.
waiting for Dunham Public Library or the chamber information to be there, but it will be there recorded. I don't know how long it stays on there. I
And
will give you that Landmark Society did something which, so well, that story, the backstory, that nothing was off the table. We kind of did due diligence. What do we do?
yeah,
Fiscally
we had
responsible,
we
all
talked
that
about all
stuff.
kinds of choices. My original thing was tear it down.
Mm-hmm.
It needs a lot of work
Me
and
too.
that's not,
That was my
that's
original.
not
Really?
what we should be doing with public
Mhm.
funds for the
Mhm.
library.
And
is propping up an old building.
And it
But
was.
the truth is, we
lot
could
of
figure out a
grants.
way to prop up an old building
Mhm.
and then, because they had a lot of structural issues,
Right.
and then renovate it so it was useful.
Yeah. I think that was that. I think that was a bit of a turning point, just get the little history. So I'm like, what are we gonna do with it? It's too small. Like, we could have had this type of meeting in there, in all honesty, and any of but more than this number of people in one of those little rooms isn't very
We
efficient.
were in those a couple times.
So, right, and
Are you
so
going to hand out, something to everyone? Like the
that
history?
says, we have our trifold brochure, but something about, okay, these are, let me just steal these. We had some photos of things, and that's what made me start digging for these. I'm like, wow, there's a big hole in our story, right? So I'm going to send these to Utica Public, and they're going to be made into poster size, just that, I think the largest they can do it is like 17 and a half or 18 by whatever. So when we do that annual report poster, it's that, so
Okay.
that it'll be that big, so it won't be tiny. So the growth at Utica Public Library, take a trip with us through memory lane and observe. And so here we are, our transformation from the first book. And then, so that these are early photos, and this is actually just before we started that project, because there is a sidewalk in front of it.
Okay, see that close.
Yes, you can.
Just so you know, page 7 and 8 are the same.
Oh, I printed it twice then. Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
We'll tuck that under, but I'll send it
Yeah, look at
electronically
that.
anyway,
Yeah.
so hopefully you
Yeah.
won't print more than one.
Yeah.
And then it goes through and we have, okay, established in 1926, so these are the older ones. I guess I can just hand it over to you. And then we go through the construction grants, because those are the pictures I have. And so the east part of that whole parking lot over there. And then we go to the west parking lot. So that was, like, we probably do have some house pictures, like taking down the house, but we don't need to share that. And see, I didn't take a picture of that because, well, I did, we have those, but they weren't in my folders to go to New York State for construction grant, because that wasn't anything they paid for. So there's that, and then we build the 2-story entrance. And then we do the elevator entrance and the stairs and the garden in the back. And then the interior, like in this whole area where we did the wall and the carpet, and I'm gonna send it over to you soon. Kitchenette and laundry. And then we start the Dunham House reno is
Oh, they're
towards
good.
the
You can
end.
see the
They do
progression.
look good, right? But then it was pretty obvious that the 1985 edition
So you're
needs
gonna
to
put
be
these-
there.
These are all
So-
gonna be in big.
But we're gonna put them on
And
posters.
where you gonna put them?
I don't really know. I think
Good.
maybe on the brick wall, or we could put them on the wall in the community room. Those are the only 2 walls we really
Right,
have.
I know, because.
You know, because we don't have interior walls.
And
And I don't think we have enough easels, nor do we really want to have that many
Mhm.
easels to buy
yeah.
for the project, right? You know,
So
so there's a,
Plus, it's like things to walk around.
yeah,
Right.
too much. But there is a wire that goes across
Yeah.
there, and we can pin it in
Mhm.
a timeline across the brick wall.
Yeah.
So
that's
I
a
will,
good
so we'll
idea.
create the posters. And we might not have a 1980, we might, because Mark is. Hi, Mark. Mark will digitize, say, 7 photos, there are 8 photos in here. And then we'll have them, send them to John. John he's got that template, and I think he will just create it. And then I'll ask Fitz at Utica Public to print them. It doesn't take a ton of time for him to print them, and I can just run over and get them. And then we'll put them on a poster board so that they'll hang well. Otherwise, they'll just be a piece of paper. It'll just be what prints out. There's a big roll on the poster maker, and I don't think the quality of paper is any thicker than, say, a normal one of these. Okay,
Now you're gonna have, any media there?
we sent it out. Well, did you see the electronic version? So, the chamber sent it out to everyone. So that was a little daunting, because then I got responses from people. It's like, oh, I'll be there. No, I forgot the reach of the Utica Chamber.
Yeah.
So they said, who do you want to special invite? And so I did mention Marianne Buttonshone and Joe Griffo, who are our representatives, because they usually come and they have, you know,
Mhm.
whatever, because Joe Griffo did advertise that this amount. We got more money than we were supposed to get for that
Okay.
grant, because they called me. I'm in my little COVID, like, what? And she's like, well, the grant for 324,000, we didn't get a grant for 324,000. I'm like, what is she talking about? And then I started to talk about the next one. She was referring to the other, because they're always a year behind, you know, doesn't matter. Bathroom renovation, same. We're gonna do both. We did it. We're gonna do it again. But rather than I think it was 299,000, we're gonna get 324. So it was pretty cool.
All right.
Somebody their project might have not have been approved or whatever towards the end, and then they just, because we didn't get a full 75% match, so they were able to just give it to
Right.
us. Okay, so yes, the media will probably show up, because too many people will come that, you know what I mean? I assume somebody
I
will
hope so,
come.
yeah.
What's
Like-
his name from Bank of Utica? Remember
I
he was
did
there
invite
Before, yeah.
The Bank of Utica, and I did say that. I said, okay, that, and then Bank of Utica, we bank with them, the architectural firm, Mead, the
Right.
construction firm.
Yep.
Because when we did this before, the people that, like Murphy Excavating, came because they did so much of the groundbreaking, but they did the parking
Right.
lot and all that stuff. So anybody who's worked on this, we invited them also. And then it goes out, the library community knows, the Chris Sagas will come from Utica. I did notice that. I didn't read it, but Wanda made mention from Mid-York about something, or she's coming or not, but I was looking to see if Sally was in my email. So I didn't read everything. So yeah, we'll
Good.
probably have quite a few people. But when we turned 90, we did a kind of a crazy invitation, and we sent it to town officials and all that. And I had a little of that idea that we might do something, but we'll probably, when we turn 100, we'll invite the world again, like
Yeah.
we did before. So we'll have enough people here. I'm sure there'll be, shoulder to shoulder kind of thing. At least over there. And I thought the ribbon cutting would be inside. It's gonna be a beautiful day. So in fairness, we could be out front and we could cut the ribbon going in. Trouble is accessibility.
Yeah.
But people could go around. I mean, the sidewalk does link you all the way in. So either way, I guess we could decide that maybe if, look, it could be windy. I don't know. I mean, I know it's going to be sunny. I didn't really pay attention. I remember when we
Yeah,
did the
and-
ribbon cutting here, it was kind of windy and a little awkward.
The
Yeah.
last ribbon cutting we did was in front of the
Yes,
outside, yeah.
and it was a little chilly. Whereas I thought we could probably just drape it across going into Dunham House
Yeah.
on the inside.
Yeah.
And then we don't have to worry about
Yeah.
weather.
Yeah.
And it would
Right, that's fine.
look nice and we'd have, they could do the photographs and they could do that whole thing. Somebody
No,
could stand
we
back.
should
and-
have wear our little trustee things. I think I have one.
Do you have a trustee pin?
Yeah. and I have- I have-
Stop.
Oh,
No new
yeah.
people do. I didn't even know they existed.
I
you
don't
know.
have one.
I have-
I've
We'll
been out
make
here
one
for
out of,
years.
we'll print it out of the computer like we do it every.
Well, we could-
If you have one, that's great.
Yeah,
Very
I mean,
good.
if you're walking around, if you're a trustee, then.
That's true. Well, okay, we could do name tags.
Yeah,
For
maybe
sure.
that
We,
would be
we
better
should
for
make
the
sure we have name
trustees,
tags, because
then
I
if
did
people wanted to ask
show,
a question.
I showed Janae, I said, oh, look at this. They had, name tags that had the little, sunflowers on them.
Oh, yeah.
At something, was it the annual meeting? I don't know.
I don't know.
Sunflowers on it?
We might have.
I've seen them. Well, anyway, so I don't know if that was a little thing we could print out
Yeah.
just for people we know, and then we could have generic ones that,
Mhm.
people could just make their own and we could set that at a table. So name tags for trustees.
Mhm.
Look at that. We might even like print them out classy like.
Now, what time does this begin?
It begins at 2 on Friday. So maybe you guys could be here, 1:30 or 1:45 or something. Yeah. Make sure you get a good parking space.
Yeah.
All right. Janae. She should know better than not show up. Okay, everybody seems to be helping a little bit with this whole process. Okay, so Sue's gonna talk, we're gonna have name tags. We could get some kind of food, but I don't know, I'm ambivalent, because I thought, I don't know I don't know what to do, and I don't like people's grabbing
Yeah.
hands and all.
I don't know.
So those are individually wrapped things. So the first 100 people will get some sunflower seeds.
Well, do
Good.
we have to have food?
We don't.
I don't
No,
think
I
we
don't
need
think
to.
we
I just don't think you
No,
have
I
to.
don't
We
think
do.
I've been places, of course, maybe I gravitate towards the open houses that are the ribbon cuttings that have food.
I don't think we have pressure on.
I don't think we have.
Because I remember we did it out there when I was president. No, we did not.
Good, okay, no food. So that helps, right? So we will have these. Sue is gonna say something, and maybe Sue, we can try to, if you need information from me, I did forward, and if you open up the open house, it gives a little, that's our press release.
Okay.
And then you could add to it the, the
Okay.
process that we
Yeah.
went through maybe, because
Yeah.
we didn't talk about
I
that.
want to make sure I phrase it right. Suggestions, please. That
Oh, yeah,
the
go
whole
ahead.
idea is, if
minute.
things have changed, people don't realize how much technology is involved. And that is complicated for it to have that technology that you need available in every space, this space and that space,
Mhm.
and especially when you're trying to have separate offices, which we didn't always have separate offices for everybody or for different
Right.
purposes. Somebody might need it for one purpose, somebody needs something else. So I need a way to say that concisely, that the
Well-
technology changes all the time.
Technology, but electricity, I mean, we're just talking about
know.
plugging stuff in here. Just that, it's not even IT, because we even had, we did do that, but we had 2 outlets in that big room upstairs. 2.
I know.
And we have printers. I think that also surprisingly, even to those of us who work here, is how much, because of accountability, has changed how much paperwork there is. You'd
Yeah.
think that there'd be less, right, or something, but
Yeah, plus the role of the
With the business
library has
office
changed.
and
Yeah,
all
it
of
has
that, yeah.
evolved, so it's not
In
just.
in terms of what
you
our
know,
library staff is doing.
Yeah.
Libraries, in terms of programming. in
I know,
terms of-
all I can think of when you think of, the past to the present, I mean, I can remember when I was a little kid and stuff, but my daughter used to live in Montour Falls. I don't know if you're familiar with that, south of Watkins Glen,
Okay, I know.
It's a
where Watkins
little-
Glen is.
Currier and Ives town. It's quaint and
Mhm.
old fashioned. And they had an incredibly beautiful library. It was a beautiful old building. It must have been a house.
Yeah.
And it
probably.
had, all the oak furniture and
Mm.
the upholstered like seats around, but under the windows, we
Uh-huh.
could sit, it was lovely. And they had very little to borrow. And she had little kids then, and we would go to the library and get things for the kids. And, all the books were taped together, and, they must not have had any money.
Oh, they
and-
were maintaining that building.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. And there
Well,
was
we know
this
how buildings
little
are.
old lady with a cardigan over and her glasses on a chain, sitting at the desk, never moved from the desk. And all I can see, I can picture her. The kids were milling around, there were 4 little kids. And the kids were milling around and she was doing the stamping, the books. And I was like, even then, that would have been in, I don't know, the late 90s.
Right, day 2 stamps were a thing. Now we just
Yeah.
receipt tape.
But it was
Yeah.
just, I keep thinking of that. It wasn't that long ago. It might have
No.
been toward.
No, we were doing
2000.
date 2 stamps when I
Yeah,
got here.
but I mean, just the whole
That's 10 years ago.
ambiance of the
Yeah.
place, they didn't have CDs, they had a few DVDs, but nothing that anyone would want to watch, and it really was just, and of course, there were other bigger towns, you
Yeah.
could go somewhere else, but we could walk there, and when
And
I
it
went
was
down to
nice,
see with the kids, we would walk to the library, and I had to bite my tongue not to laugh while I was in there,
We might have made some changes after that person left. you
well,
never know.
possibly,
Because I'm sorry, it's annoying. I mean, I love this stuff. You might say, oh my gosh, this generation was really into that. And I am really into it, but when you get sick, you notice how much work you.
Yeah,
It's like, what am I doing? Why don't I just sit back and wait to retire? But I'm a little driven, a lot to do these things. But I mean, if you could function, I mean, in
Yeah.
the building we have, it's certainly lovely.
Right.
But
but
there's
it's
a
like,
few more things.
I
I
need
guess I'm
something
just
to
there.
say about the different,
Yeah,
how
how we
fast,
wanted to,
how fast things
things
change
you know,
in order to
our
meet the needs of the whole community.
IT is really our, because everything is online. So even things that aren't changing, they're not necessarily Wikipedia or whatever, but we have databases. We have earlier multimedia encyclopedia. Our reference section is online. I mean, there's actually, peer-reviewed journals and things of that nature. It's not just, Google search, but we need to access that stuff. So we need to access it at our desks, because even ordering books, you're not ordering books in a catalog, you're not writing things down on a piece of
Right.
paper and mailing it out to someone. You're going through, and then you have to check it against your catalog. So say Jamie puts a list together, and then Kim takes that list and she makes sure that, I think this is how everything happens. People do different jobs around here a lot, but I'm pretty sure Kim's still ordering the books. And so she has to make sure we don't already own it, or we
Yeah.
haven't ordered it from a different,
Right,
catalog, or
yeah.
all those things. So you have to have that in function with the computer. So Kathy's doing whatever, and Vale's doing something else, and they're all using these databases to input books, and they go into, feel free, Shar, if I'm not saying it right, but we do all need a computer, and we need to be using this database at the same time. It's not, again, it's not like there's a legal pad and you put all your legal pads
Right.
together, you know what I mean? It's
Yep.
so,
Yeah.
we do, it's the way we function.
And
Well, we do it at
people that-
home too.
People that don't work with IT, or
Right.
a lot of older people, they have no concept.
They just go to the grocery store there. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even I go to the grocery store. and Some people are, even my mother, Instacart and all these things. I'm already here.
Yeah.
I can run errands after work or whatever. But I mean, that's something you can just keep that list and just say, oh, we need peanut butter though. And boom, and it shows up at your house.
Yep.
I mean, that's a process. And if you don't have strong internet or whatever you need to do that, it doesn't work. So even, I know we've recently, even with Amazon, we're able to do some invoices. It's a newer, it's just switched. But, right, a lot of things. And it
And-
keeps changing.
In the office, it changes the furniture, it changes the use of space.
Yeah. So I have to find a concise way to say that, how important it is for, so, because so many people don't really have any kind of.
Know why we
They
might
have
need
no
to update.
idea.
For
Yeah.
facilities to be better able to support the
Yeah.
changes in the way we do.
Right, and the fact that how it is now is perfect now, and everybody loves it, it doesn't mean it's gonna be that way 5 years from now.
No.
So,
Well,
you know,
People would maybe understand the switch from, VHS to
Right.
CDs to streaming, it just happened in some of our houses. It hasn't happened in everybody's house.
yeah, that's
There's,
true.
we could say it 25 different ways.
Yeah.
And we just need to,
So people that don't really, people who are caught in the, oh my God, how could it cost that much thing?
Mhm.
People that go to buy something and say, oh my God, it was $200, it used to be $7.99,
it's like
And-
monopoly money.
Yeah, I
It's
know,
crazy,
I know,
especially here, because we pay prevailing wage.
yeah.
And like, so the guy down the street who might put your windows in they don't charge as much as people that work here.
Sometimes.
I know, right? Everybody
Sometimes.
charges a lot now.
But,
But-
yeah, so, people don't always understand how quick it changes and how complicated it is, that in the fact that we have, it's not, it's there to make things easier,
It is.
but it's complex as far as arranging the space and arranging the power source and arranging, how
Yeah.
everything fits together.
So I don't think we have to tell them everything. I'm just trying
No,
to think.
no, we don't.
So, in an effort to be as productive as possible, I think that's just it.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
people do well, within reason, people do understand when they make, if you renovate your bathroom at home, it's expensive, right? There's all this new stuff and there might be regulated, there aren't usually regulations at home as much, but you want to make sure that, say, your family sells your house, when you update your bathroom, you want maybe the entrance to the door not to be, really skinny or whatever, you just change some things. So I think I guess we could talk just about Dunham House, but in a way, we haven't had an open house since we put the
Right.
foyer on.
Yeah.
So we could talk about,
Talk about
we've
the
renovated
year by year
inside a
renovation.
little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. And then we kind of would just want to say that we're progressing a little at a time, taking advantage of grants.
Yep.
Because that's money, and we
And-
do, that's why a little at a time.
What is our service? Like how many people do we serve? You have. know
I
have
need
that
to know
stuff.
what the new one is. It used to be 26,133, but I haven't really seen a new census.
Well, we can use.
26,000.
Over 26,000.
Over 26, yeah. That's what it used to
So people don't, because you walk in the library on some Tuesday morning, there might be 5 people in
be.
here.
Mhm.
You can't really conceive it. And a lot of people, don't really browse. I don't, I very seldom browse. I know what I want and I order it online.
You
And it
do,
comes
and there
here
are
and-
some people that will use Libby. So the fact that we have those, and the reason we have those books, somebody figured out which books go in the Libby database.
Yeah.
So we're still curating a collection. It just happens to be digital. And I've said this a few different ways. Not everybody uses the public library the same in their lifetime.
Right.
So if you have little kids, you might come here because it's preschool education. And then your kids go to public school and you might just pop in and get books, but you don't stay here a long time.
Yeah.
And then your kids get older and they might just be getting things at the public library, or they might be using SOAR, which is the public library's Libby, or you might just be using Libby at this point in your life because you're driving back and forth and you're taking your kids everywhere and your kids are listening to audiobooks, but you're still using the library.
Yeah.
And then you might come back, like I was just talking to a Rotary person and she said, I don't really use the library right now. I used to go all the time as a kid. I said, you know what? You're going to retire in a couple of years and maybe you'll join a book club. because you've got time now. So we go through it, and it's almost like the hospital. Like, okay, when you're a young couple, you might need that maternity room. Well, I don't need a maternity ward anymore, but I'm pretty happy there's one in my community, right?
Yeah.
So, and there's an emergency room when I need it, right? So people come in and they might need the public library, just even for a notary, but they might need to come in and get something they weren't thinking about. They might want to build the deck, and they're sick of all the ads that come when they Google deck building. And so they'll come and get that, but they might not come in again for a little while, but then they'll come, it's here when you need it.
Exactly.
And so that's a thing that, so just because you don't come every week, doesn't mean it's not there for you when you need it. I've been in the hospital a long time, thank God.
Yeah.
But but
What about the, at home? The people that teach at home.
homeschoolers.
Do they-
Homeschoolers do take out a lot of books. They do come in because they'll take out 30 books at a time. But we are also the homework center for some kids. Some kids don't have internet home, or some of our patrons choose not. They're like, you know what? I don't need Netflix. I don't watch an awful lot of live television. I just want to watch a movie once in a while. And they keep a DVD player. And I see, it's interesting because you see people who say might be financially struggling. Then I see people that I know who they are, and I know a business they own, and they're in here because they want to check out the most recent fiction book, but they don't need to own it.
Yes,
Minimalists
yes.
are big with libraries because
yes.
why would you buy
Yeah,
you don't need to buy it. You need to read it. You're going to have it for 14 days or whatever you're going to have, and you're
Yeah.
going to bring it back.
that's it. Yeah.
So environmentalists in a way, or whatever.
A lot of people, a lot of younger people are
Yeah.
total minimalists. They don't,
Right?
None-
But they still want, because they look at
wanna
the computer
read,
all
they
the
don't want
time,
clutter
that they
in their
want to
house.
see, they just want a printed page.
Yeah.
Because it's different. It's a
Right.
different medium.
There's also the changes of, you've made the space better for different groups. Before you just had the community room where people
Mhm.
could meet. I mean, people can meet here, people can meet in this room over here, people could have a small.
They can go
meeting
upstairs. They'll have to go
upstairs
upstairs.
Yeah,
They can.
Area, you
And
know,
we
so-
could, and we had a meeting, I had my intern and her, I don't know, cooperating teacher. We met with Kellen and we were up there and it was lovely, and there was somebody at their laptop and she was very excited that she was able to, she said, I know you have that wall, but it's still a little loud down there. I said, oh, we can always shut the doors. But again, it is one of those things, you kind of look around, you go to hotels or whatever, and you say, how do they use their space? How do they like take this space and move it down?
Yeah.
So we are always kind of conscious of how we can multi-function
So
in a
how
space.
is the time schedule gonna work now? So at 2:00,
Mhm.
what are you gonna do? Is that-
Well, fortunately, I love it. The chamber comes in and they have a way of being the MC of the situation. So Carrie, I believe her name is, she will kind of dictate what happens, but about 2:00. So people will probably start coming in a little earlier. About 2:00, she'll get that ribbon, the big ribbon, and she'll say, okay, she'll want the board members and say significant people or whatever to hold it. And then there'll be big scissors. So we have to decide who's gonna cut with the big scissors. It might be 2 people, I don't know. So who wants to use the scissors? Do you? You could, because Sue is,
you've been the longest person on this board.
right? And it's easy.
Yeah.
No, if
I
you
can
need
pick
help,
them
somebody
up,
can
yeah.
help you. So that's what happens. And then boom, they do that. Sue will talk, and she'll talk before the ribbon cutting, I think.
Yeah.
And then they'll cut the ribbon, and then we'll just
we
talk to
can mill
community
around
members,
it.
and we'll mill
Yeah,
around.
We can mill
Like a
around.
bit of a
and
cocktail party
show
without a
people
cocktail.
things, if they're interested.
Right,
Say, have you seen this?
right.
The last time we had the open house, there were people that I was chatting with, and I said, oh, would you like to see the upstairs? Where, I forgot now what it was being used. They had tables.
We had
and,
the board, we did,
because we used to have meetings up
we
there
did,
sometimes.
yeah.
And, a lot of people were like, oh, really? They were really happy to see that. So,
Yeah, oh yeah, we're
okay.
definitely gonna give tours. And I know, Janae has the, special volunteers, so you guys are special volunteers, there's a little something for you, so. I wonder how we should, I don't know if that's something we have to like chat about, like big time. We might just acknowledge, I don't know if we need to acknowledge, should the board be introduced?
If we have name tags that say trustee. they're
And you'll be
probably-
up there,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
people know you're dignitaries because you'll have your hand on the ribbon.
Yes, yes, all the boards be there when the ribbon is cut,
Yeah.
and then we'll just go meet with people and. Do you want me to mention something just quickly say that the funding is state construction grant?
I have yes, most
Because
of
a
it.
lot of people. tend to
majority.
Think, oh,
I
my
have
God, you know,
a
you spent all
paper
this
and I
money."
might put that on the counter and I updated. It's 11 years of it's
Yeah.
over $1 million that we've received in the last 11
Yeah.
years for construction grant. So that'll be just there for
Yeah.
people to see. We're gonna have the trifold brochure of the library. So that's just us. It's not necessarily construction. It's just like, this is who we are as a library. And so we'll have a little of that. Just by the way, you're here, these are the things we offer. So yeah, we have
Good,
that.
Good.
You'll come together.
I don't think I have any, as long as we make sure they understand, everybody realizes that we're trying to make it
Yeah,
more contemporary. That's an ancient old building and it was inconvenient before for anything, no matter what we did in
Oh, my
it, it was
goodness.
inconvenient.
I mean, it wasn't really good for, well,
First of all,
again,
structural issues.
there was structural issues. but
Yeah, and it
even
was
the-
dark and gloomy a
You
lot of
can't,
it.
you can
and-
plug things in. Oh my gosh, I knew exactly which circuit breaker.
Yeah, yeah, you would have
So,
to, yeah.
oh, they're microwaving. Oh, they were using the toaster oven. Just like,
Yeah, yeah.
when they come to me or whatever, and we figure it out.
So that's
And
over.
then, and the expense of buying like a 10-foot power strip. So we bought these power strips just because, right, you have the paper shredder and you had the copy machine and you had the printer and then you have your, it just all the things,
Yeah.
the label printer and all these peripheral things that go with your workstation.
It's
right?
just like home if you have an old house.
Yes.
It's not rewired, or
now
not very
there's
well rewired.
some outlets. We still didn't, I mean, we probably could have done a better job with them. I don't know how many outlets you can put in and how many different walls, but we were definitely so much better off than others.
Okay, so I think I got all the things we need to say something about and
Okay.
make it quick. We don't want to go on and on.
You're
Ba-
good?
Yeah,
You know,
the
we can
basic
talk.
idea
Well, we
is,
here,
the building was there. In order to use it, we had to bring it up to the 21st century.
right, and and in a way. It's an icon. It's something the community is proud of, and the fact that it's going to be really in good shape for a number of years to come.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it should be, and the Landmark Society is gonna come next year. We're on their calendar. And people are gonna, and there are people that are coming from the Landmark Society that I know them from other places. And it was their write-up was this in their newsletter this month. So they know about our open house and so some of them are.
There's something I was going to ask about on this, the piece that all the things that are coming up.
Okay,
The next, what was it? The sign.
oh, yes,
Because you remember in the past, the village wouldn't let us put a sign that
I
ran.
we're gonna take down one.
Yeah.
We're gonna take down the one with the pillars. And we're gonna put a different one and turn it
Well,
sideways.
yeah,
I do need to
but
get a
that's what
sign
they
permit
wouldn't let us do.
to turn
Is
it
turn it sideways. It was asinine. It was ridiculous. Heavy
Whoopsies.
nonsense.
I hope they do, because I'm in trouble if they
Yeah,
don't,
well,
but
no, well,
it was small
they need
enough
to-
that it,
They need to give that up, that this is a major historical district and you can't have anything modern in it and blah, blah.
I'm curious
Yeah, no.
because the American Legion has one, but
Yeah.
is it set back from the road enough that they
Well, the place on
allowed
the
it?
Corners still got one at that pharmacy or whatever
Yes.
it was,
Oh,
and
right.
it's not even there, hasn't been there in
So
years.
they have a sign and the American Legion has a sign. So I'm hoping that it will be okay. I did, I have
Yeah,
4
and-
years
and
to
they
convince
also
them that it's
need to-
okay.
Whoever was on the board or is still on the board, I don't know who's there, but
Mhm.
they need to see that there's different purposes for the historic buildings. I mean, everybody
We can
knows.
do it
it's
in a
town
classy
hall.
way, and even if for whatever reason, I don't think they'd have a problem with the digital format, and we can do it in a way that
Yeah.
is,
Well,
better.
they
and if they
certainly-
don't allow us to do it out by the road, then we'll do that kiosk thing inside.
Yeah.
It
But
was
it's
one of
just-
those, I said, to Rob at Mid-York, I said, well, I don't have a permit for this sign yet. And he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. Beg forgiveness later. And I said,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I know they'll let
Yeah.
us do a sign
Yeah.
that is quaint and old.
Yeah.
They would let us do something like that. So I'm not
Well,
really
their
worried.
objection was putting it sideways so people could see it from both directions.
Really?
Yeah.
That's before my time.
Yes,
I don't remember.
I remember thinking, oh my God, have you nothing real to worry about? And, you know, I could make a list. And it just was ridiculous.
But that's been over 10 years now, so
Well, I
hopefully
hope
they're caving.
that whoever's there is not living in the. past.
Okay.
Because the library has a purpose here, whether or not
Right.
it's. in
We
the
bring people
historical
downtown.
district.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of traffic here.
Yes, and the purpose is enhanced by people being able to drive by and see what's going on.
Yeah. And we can do it in such a way that it is, the lights aren't bright. I think we can set it like after 8 o'clock because we're not open anyway.
Right.
We could even shut it off. You know, if that's a problem, I get it. I wouldn't want that outside my bedroom if it's bright or whatever.
No.
I don't know what the
But it's
Legion
not
does.
that close to anybody else.
Just across the street, but I still think,
No,
you
but-
know what?
but
It's better if it's
going to be
sideways.
Sideways.
Because if we have it facing
Yeah.
them, that's worse.
So this way, it's only shining down the road. and
Right,
Up
And
the
up the
road.
road, and there's street lights. So in
Yeah.
a way, it could definitely,
Yeah.
if
Books are very helpful and light outside for reading books
Yeah.
in your bed when you're supposed to be.
I
sleeping.
Yeah,
I did not submit this. I have the sign permit. I've printed out and I have it digitally in my inbox. You know, it just hasn't been figured out yet. But I know that we don't have to do, I don't have to, New York State doesn't care as long as I do it in 4 years. So
yes.
I
exactly.
wasn't panicked in the
No, I
last 2
think
months to get
it's
it done.
just the village that has.
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
think we'll get something by them.
no, it's just so
So-
petty.
I'm hoping it can be
matter of-
digital, because it could be, and we can do it in CP towns, it doesn't matter, I mean, we could make it look historic, we can do whatever we want, we can make it really
Right.
cool, right? Because the one that's there is straight at 1970s.
And plus you
Maybe
can't,
80s.
you know, you have to slow down to read it
Yeah,
because it's not facing you when you're driving up and down.
but even if you're walking, people walk up and down, they do
Yeah.
different things, or the drive, you know, the passenger can see it. We'll see, I mean, we don't want it to look billboardy, we don't want it to not look classy either, you know.
Now,
We,
I
of course,
think that
want
was
it to
their
look
objection
nice.
there.
Trying to think
Whoever
of what
was,
Hartford is.
They have a wooden sign.
I go there all the
I
time.
think they have a wooden sign and then
Yeah,
they have
they're,
lights facing it, but I could be wrong. It's a
they're-
nice sign.
it is nice.
Yeah.
Their library, if you're not familiar with it, you drive right by. I mean, if somebody says.
Well, this one
it's
too.
on- it's on
People drive
whatever
right by the
street, and you drive right by
Yeah.
it,
Right.
you know, if you have to know where it is,
You kind of do, because there must be a tree or something,
there's a lot of trees there.
because I know where it is though right
Yeah,
now,
I
but
do
I think
too.
the first time I went, I did drive right by.
Yeah.
But they have a nice oval sign. We're gonna come up with something. I mean, the one I quoted was an LED sign. But we wanted to have a nice base, something that might be have flowers in it or
Yeah,
whatever. It's
that looks
something
good, yeah.
quite classy.
Yeah, all right, that was the only
Right.
question I had, about it, because
These
I
are
know
good
it was
because
a
sometimes these
problem.
meetings were
before.
just business, and that's, I kind of wanted this to just be, so we can hash out these little things that aren't board meeting stuff
Yeah,
usually.
yeah.
So thank you. Because maybe my thoughts aren't your thoughts all the time. I have a tendency to just push forward and hope that you stop me when you have your questions. It's
Oh,
kind
that
of my
could be
style.
bad.
So I'm gonna go through and find, maybe we'll have 2 more pages basically, and it has to do with this 85. So now I talked to the secretary, I think her name, help me, is it Sherry? Sherry Blink is Joseph Muller's secretary. He is the superintendent of building or business.
Mhm.
So he's the person we talked to a couple of years ago. Sue, Sue, I think were there. I think Sally intended to be there.
I
But
can't remember.
wasn't Pat, I think you were still working. You just stopped recently.
No,
So Sue,
I forgot her last name, but was on the board before.
Susanna, we
Yeah,
called her
Susanna,
Susanna
yeah.
because so she wasn't
Yeah,
Sue.
she was
She
there.
was with you, I know. I think it was just the two of you with Joe. And so we asked him all about what we do when we're ready to bond, and we weren't really ready to bond at that point. And he said, don't worry about it. We bond all the time. I still haven't caught up with him, but I will. And I think what we're gonna do, I have, the architect she sent me a bill. So the renderings of the second floor are coming in the mail. So hopefully we'll have those Friday, because she's well aware of this open house too. She's gonna be coming. So I think she wants to have those drawings here for us too.
Yeah, good.
It's kind of this. Like, you know, how you have a soft opening so it's kind of this like, by the way,
Yeah,
we're going to be bonding. It's an awesome time to be bonding right now, I believe, because we still have, we're going to, if we can chunk this second floor project up really. Then, excuse me. a second. Hello, Kevin, what's happening? Perfect. He's made construction. He's the guy who's in charge of made construction. I'm sure he wants that. No worries. Okay. I'm hoping we can chunk that up in a way. Yes, we're gonna bond. We're gonna figure out how much the total amount is. Scare us all. But we also, I believe, will be able to continue to get significant grants through this process. I have no idea, you didn't know, but I mean, I don't know if it's gonna cost $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. I don't, not 10,000. Like, it might cost $1 million. It might cost, I have no idea what it's gonna cost to do the second floor. But we've done so many big projects.
Yeah.
We know it's a big project. I mean, I'm not naive. I am a bit of a Pollyanna at times, because might as well have a positive attitude than a negative. I mean, but a lot of things have to be done. That big HVAC unit has to be picked up and probably disconnected and put on the ground when they do something, and then they have to build the shell and put it back up. So we have to coordinate that and say, okay, that has to be done to say April. Oh, there's no cold weather or hot weather,
yeah.
because we won't be able to heat or cool this place. So many things.
What have we got to lose?
I
If
know,
people
right?
Voted down, they voted down.
And
They're
then
not
here we
willing to pay
are.
for it,
And then
so
we'll just
this is what you
throw a
get.
rolled roof on there and we'll be done.
Yeah,
But I mean, we would try again probably, but the rolled roof that's up there is past its expiration date, but it's in great repair. So there's no reason to worry that, you get your shingles on your roof for 25 years. If it goes 30, if there's a problem. So there's a lot of things I don't really understand yet either about what it means to put this second floor on. I know a lot about it, and you probably have a lot of questions too. We will, when we get, like, maybe we'll plan to do this. I don't know if we want to do this meeting every month. We might, that we would meet. What is this? The third Monday of the month or something like that. Maybe we could do the third Monday of the month at 10, and then we could invite different people in. Maybe I will actually be able to get Joe Muller to come and chat with us. I'll be able to get the architect to come and tell us, okay, these are the steps that we have to take. This has to happen before this and that kind of thing. But to get the approval and get permission to have that much money borrowed, we still have to, it's almost like a home equity, right? We'd have to pay it back, but it doesn't mean we just spend the money without trying to get grants for it. I think that would be really foolish.
Yeah.
So we'll try to get what we can, and we might be able to, again, next year, get, a good chunk of money again. To decorate, to fill it, I think we can build it 1 year and make it storage. If there's carpet, there's like finished concrete on the floor and there's exterior windows and we can access it from stairs and elevator, it'll be okay. It's okay to stop, move on to the next phase, talk to New York State Construction and say, okay, now we want to do this. We're going to put in like these 2 bathrooms up there. So then when it actually we'll just do steps at a time. So I think if it's just storage, the and the capacity, because once we say, oh, X amount of people can go up there, that's when we have to put the egress stairs in, which will go in that storage room over there. That's kind of figured out. It'll work out. People enter, they'll exit out by the parking lot over here. It's all kind of part of what we figured out already.
Yeah,
So it goes, it'll be in line, the upstairs addition will be in line with that brick wall. It'll go that brick wall, it'll catch that brick pillar and it'll hit the house. That, what we see right in front of us, that fan window, that's where we're going to have like the outdoor courtyard. So we'll put the rocky, we'll put a finish on the roof that is just like a rooftop. I don't want to say it's a garden, because it'll just be a patio kind of thing.
yeah,
And that way, the windows, like at school, you know, you have the courtyard, you say, wow, that's a waste of space, but it isn't, because it brings light in from all the other places. And so we'll have that, and why not? Put a few, you know, picnic tables or outdoor seating. So we'll have a sliding glass door on the side, so we can actually go and sit up there. And I kind of see something a little higher that goes above it, that's a shade, that'll go over the two roofs. And it'll give us, I don't know if it's a pergola or if it's a real solid thing. I don't want to have it too solid though, because then the light won't come in.
yeah.
Right. And I do also have a quote from a few different things that are kind of pending to do some solar. And we could satisfy our, I don't know if it's electric and heat. It seems like it would be, I don't really know. But with that second floor roof, he even put solar panels on the Dunham house, and that made me a little nervous. Structurally, I mean, I don't think structurally it's a problem, but maybe it would be. I feel a little nervous about that. But our architect knows that we're thinking that we may do solar panels. I don't know if it'll happen, but wow, that's kind of, if we can not have an electric bill in the future, that'd be fun. And that, the thing is, it is expensive, right? But if we can get grants through NYSERDA, we get grants through New York State construction, and we only have to pitch in like $30,000, and then we don't have an electric bill for the next 30 years, then
You might be with it.
so that's
What about, is there any other funding stream for libraries besides the state, New York State? Is there anything
the
federal?
community foundation gives us money at times.
I
So
mean,
they
is
gave
there-
us $10,000 towards the bathroom, and they will probably continue to give us.
Is there any federal money? Because federal seems to have billions and
It
billions
comes-
of dollars to spend
That
on
comes,
foolish.
a lot of these things come to us through federal funding, like our databases that I mentioned for reference. So all those novel New York databases is what they're pretty much. That is federal money being filtered through New York State and then being filtered back to us.
Okay.
There are, but I don't know if there is for building. And in all honesty, that some of that construction grant money may be federal.
That's true.
You know what I
Federal money goes to state.
Yeah.
I love
It, like mid-York distributed to us, so the federal funding might go to New York State libraries, and then that's how they're choosing.
Yeah, because I don't
to
really
share it
know
with
what
us.
other funding things would be available. Some philanthropy, I mean, some large philanthropy that like Carnegie, you know, all those
You
Carnegie
know,
libraries.
The
I mean,
winds, they put the hospital down.
They
Yeah.
did, but you know, Bank of Utica, I don't know. I mean, there is a gentleman who was involved. Is it Ramon or something? New Hartford. He did something because his wife's painting is
Oh,
there.
yeah,
and
yeah.
So I'm trying to remember what
Yeah, New
portion of the,
Hartford-
they didn't change the name of the library. It's a
No,
little interesting.
No,
We've
New
got-
Hartford had a
George
lot of
Dunham.
wealthy donors.
They did, they got funding for that library. So I don't know. Exactly. I think the community foundation has their own, but then they also have pockets of money that have to do with, so maybe if it's a true new construction like that type of new construction, we've lost Jan at the community foundation, so that's a little, I mean, she's retired, she's
Yeah.
like, but I could chat with her better than whoever's there. I don't know who's there now, really. They say, oh, no, just apply for this. Like, no. Talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Tell her my own story, and I want them to say, oh, you should apply for this, you know, that kind of,
Right, direct.
because there are people, right, who would be interested in this? We need the Andrew Carnegie of the Oneida Herkimer community foundation, like Alex Carbone's loaded. Does he want to support libraries? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go try to talk to him, but somehow I feel like awkward. So,
You want me to
So,
go to-
I don't know, you could.
I don't have to
I
think
did
about
see
it. I mean, they did that gym. and
He
the
did do that.
whole-
My son-in-law has a business in the gym.
Yeah. my-
So it's, I could maybe plant a seed.
Yeah, I don't
Does
know what-
somebody want, like, but do we want a wing named, it'd be weird, like how long can our name be? But I mean, the room could be, the Synods, I believe is their name,
Oh,
or
from
the,
Bank of
from
Utica,
Bank of Utica. Well, maybe they'd like a Synod room upstairs. You know, they have it at Munson Williams and it's the
Yeah.
Synod Theater.
yeah. Right.
Well, what do you want to do? You know, maybe at our open house. He doesn't, he's false.
Oh, yeah,
You need
yeah.
to talk
No,
to,
he
you
is.
know, you
He's
guys
on-
can corner him.
He's on TV all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I know,
yeah.
would you guys, would you like to have a room? And
Did-
maybe they
Who
would.
donated the money? Remember, it was, I don't know if it's recent, it was a while
It
ago,
is.
that all those interns for the summer high school kids,
Mhm.
and the money was donated by
Yeah, but that wasn't
businesses?
very much money.
No, but what business was it?
Mhm.
I thought it was Carbone, but maybe not.
They might have had one. We did have the donation from the one lady who gave us $300,000, 350,000, 374,000, some number like that. And I remember talking to her on the phone beforehand, because she needed our tax ID number. And I said, do you want to, oh, we could do a children's room or something upstairs. And that was before people told me, no, you don't want to have all those people in the elevator at the same time.
Yeah.
He said, you should have adults upstairs and children downstairs. And she's like, no, do something for adults. So in a way, she's already donated some money to do the second floor. She was into that, but I mean, it wasn't a stipulation that we had to
Yeah.
build the second floor to get the money. She just donated
Yeah, we'll
it.
have
She
to
was the one who
think
gave to
about-
Whitesboro Teacher Center and
Yeah.
New Hartford
Think
Public
about who
Library.
your area philanthropists are.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I can't think of any in Whitesboro.
right. But
Maybe there are
again,
some, but I
you know,
can't think of
maybe between a few, you know, we could have a little giving tree upstairs or something, you know, saying this, the significant donors. So, you know, you want to give us $1 million, it could be on the floor.
them. Yeah, do that. And plus they can write it off, so.
Yeah.
it's,
Oh my God.
Walmart,
And then their name is there.
Walmart likes
Maybe.
to give money to the community. I used
Yeah.
to know the guy that was in
They
charge
usually
of
give us
that,
like, you know,
but I don't think he is one.
Walmart's are great, like Stewart's is great. And they'll give us,
Yeah.
you know, ice cream or something,
Yeah.
but they're usually
Yeah, and-
not
and
significant.
Walmart
I mean, it's
wants
nice.
to pose as being community I mean, I don't mean that they aren't, but you know, they want to be somebody that's community minded.
Yes.
Because, you know, not everybody thinks they're wonderful, although after all this time, I think they're pretty well accepted. I don't
Yeah.
know
Actually,
who's boycotting Walmart.
Walmart
anymore.
is kind of making an effort to do that, you know,
Yeah.
to listen to people. They did they did a lot of renovations of their stores and, well, it was probably self-serving. I mean, you do solar and you do some other things to make
Right.
it,
Well, they
your
have
your building
plenty.
green, it helps you
They
too,
have
but
plenty of money,
yes.
so.
And they,
you
but
know.
they put it in, they put it to work in a way
Yeah.
to help the. I know that there are some people like Gaetano's a big construction
Yeah,
company.
that's true.
I mean, they did work, they were the company that did the wall, but I know that, where I get a mammogram, they donated that room or something in there.
They're
It's
black,
like,
like two different
right.
places, yeah.
So there are people that would be interested, maybe. We just have
Yeah,
to,
we'll have to
we
think
just needed
about
a
it.
project that big, and
Yeah.
it is that big.
You know who probably has a list is the community foundation.
They do, probably.
Yeah. So
And so if we were
if you
actually
know anybody
building
who could
something
say, we
this
want your
significant,
list,
right?
you know.
So,
Yeah, put it out there, pencil for.
Yeah.
I
There you
think
go.
he's a little financially strapped right this minute, but eventually.
Oh, my son
I
played-
graduated with him.
Did you? My
Yeah.
son played hockey with him.
Yeah.
Robbie Ash.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Isn't it? But his mom works at the, she said something to do with. Right, it's right on the canal,
Oh, I don't know.
Aquavina.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. But I do know, I would think that he would in the future have money for us. I just don't want this odd outpouring and the fact that they were closed. A lot of it, so we invested big in a few restaurants down there and then they were closed for COVID. So
Yeah.
I think he's okay, but
Yeah, but it might.
I
need to
think
come
that
back
was
little bit more.
that probably took a
So the next
toll.
step for bonding, well, first we're getting the plans with the costs and all of that.
Yes,
and
we
then
will have to know
we
how
go
much.
Through the
The
school
school.
district.
And so basically they're our bank in a way.
Mhm.
Or what they would do is on behalf of us, they would say, okay. And it's like kind of like a
Mhm.
proposal, kind of like our
Yeah.
operating budget and our construction grant ask for the
So we make a
50,000.
proposal to the school.
We put it goes on the school doesn't really say yes or no.
Oh, okay.
They say, okay, you're going to bond.
Mhm.
And if the taxpayers of Whitesboro say it's okay, so
Mhm.
basically it'll go on the school budget vote.
Right.
It'll just be one of those things you vote for. There will be quite a few of them now. We'll have 3 proposals on the next budget vote.
Yeah.
Then, but schools don't always, because I know my husband had to set something up for Frankfurt and they were doing a building project vote. And it was like last week. So I guess
they
you
were
don't
doing it
have to do
separate.
it but in all honesty, it seems like the school budget vote, they do a nice job. At least I know they do on Holland Patton and they, they have the parents come and look at the art shows and all that. And I think that
I know
So,
the birds are.
we
having a
seem
good
to
time
do
out
okay when we put our budget vote up in May when they do, but maybe if there is, we could ask them. If they've got something that they're doing a bonding budget vote at a different time, we could coordinate with them. So
Right.
I'm open. We don't have to.
Yeah.
I assumed May because that's kind of
there.
what I
That's
know.
Usually this, what the school does.
It's usually at that time, like,
Yeah.
we're gonna get buses, we're gonna do this,
Yeah.
we're gonna
People are pretty used to that.
do the,
Yeah.
like, the football field or whatever we're
Yeah.
gonna do. That's when it happens. So in the event that we do get approval for that, at that point, then the school must have to say, okay, so bonds are different than loan.
Yeah.
It's like a savings bond of sorts, right? So they just must, there's some kind of, I don't know if there's, I don't know. Joe told us, whatever.
I know.
He just said, don't worry about it. I think that was the
Yeah,
gist of it. He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
don't worry about it. We do it all the
All I
time.
remember is that, then the school owns the library.
Exactly.
But I don't suppose that's a problem really. Well, it doesn't matter.
Or
Because in
there's
order
a-
to get the money, that's what we have to do.
Right.
So.
But there's a lien. Basically, there's a lien. Like, so there's a lien on your car until you pay it
Yeah.
off, right? Same. And you have a mortgage on your house, there's a
And
lien
if
on your house.
you-
until you pay it
If you borrowed the money from a bank, the bank owns that
Right.
until you pay it off.
Right.
too.
We are in a very nice position because, for example, if Utica Public wants to do that, they can't. They're an association library, they can't bond with the school district. I know that NIDA Public Library put that, they had to go through USDA. I looked into USDA and they're like, if you can bond with the school district, that's golden. That's what you want to do. So that's a very nice situation we're in. This partnership with the school that they did back in 1930, whatever, was brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that we are a school district.
There aren't very many, which I didn't realize
Not
until
as many,
recently,
no.
that there are only very handful of schools
Right.
that are school.
There's Canastota, I think Herkimer just became within reason, Waterville, there aren't
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
many
there aren't
in
many at
mid-York.
all.
And I know, for example, like New Hartford's a town library, so if they want to do something, the town may bond on their behalf. That's
Yeah.
a thing that towns do. Seems like they might be able to, but we do have the ability to do this, and then we'll have to find out how much it would cost, because you have to pay monthly for a bond, yeah.
Yeah.
I assume. It's like a mortgage, but it's not.
Mhm.
It's a different variety of. And we'll be okay to do that too, I think. Especially if we do things, I do want to try to incorporate the solar in there, so I know it's X amount of money. And so I got the quote and he's telling me about this, like financing. I'm like, no. I need to know the whole amount. And
Yeah.
it was
right,
like
right.
200 and some $1,000 or whatever it was. goodness, we spend that much money, NYSERDA gives us money, New York State Construction Grant gives us money, and then we don't have an electric bill?
Yeah, and that should help for.
But there's, I don't know, can we do that in the village? Do they let us? I don't know. There's a solar thingy.
Yeah.
They like as long as if it's flat and it doesn't show. Part of it was on the south. Does that face south? The road south, I guess, because that's east, west. So on the south side of that roof, so over the community room, basically would have solar panels. But the other part would be all flat.
There's not much solar around in the village. I don't remember seeing any. Nothing obvious. Anyway.
No, but again,
The many that I've seen,
Yeah.
not in the village, I've seen stuff in the town.
It's
Yeah.
kind of new though.
yeah,
I mean, it's not new, but it was kind of the,
but also the.
just the outright.
The
uh,
federal
out of there.
government is giving
Hippies were-
incentives, I
Yes,
think, for.
more
Yeah.
so in the last couple of
stuff,
years.
And so that might change some of the villages. and
Maybe.
might progress
I mean, they didn't have
something.
windmills in Longo until,
Yeah.
years
Until
ago.
they did.
Until they did,
Until they
right?
did, that's right. And no one died.
I know.
But-
We could do some.
We had to have one of those signs. Did you
some
die?
Really cool. I
Did you die? Don't answer.
I
if
have
you
a
did.
dish towel, my daughter gave, me. It says, but did you die?
Yeah.
Because I used to say that to her when she was a teenager and had dreadful, whatever,
They have some really cool
Look at
things.
you
I mean, they
still
have
here talking
like,
to me.
so like poles and then they have, like, they look like a big flower. I'm not proposing we do that necessarily, but solar can come in all different shapes and forms. They don't have to be a panel. I think somehow the panel
Yeah.
is probably the most productive.
Waterville had that whole bank of solar out
They
the cow
do.
pasture behind
And
us, whatever.
they really did a nice job.
Yeah.
with, making it so that their ongoing expenses were less.
Yeah.
That was fun. Well, they had a brand new building.
I know. it's
And then
lovely.
construction grants became available and were, kind of easy. It's a great return on your investment.
They must have some money somewhere. The last time I was there was probably a year ago, and they had a landscaping firm there with probably 4 people
Oh,
taking
nice.
care of the garden.
Okay, the garden,
Yeah,
the New
Waterville.
Hartford Garden
Waterville.
and the Waterville Garden were, there was a donation
yeah,
with continued maintenance.
Oh,
Yeah.
So they have the same
right,
situation
yeah,
as New Hartford. So that was nice.
yeah, it's a lovely
Yeah.
library.
Okay,
Okay,
so I don't have any, I needed to hash that out, but what is today? Do you want to try to do that?
This is the fourth Monday.
What is the fourth? We're the
Today.
fourth Monday?
Monday.
Is that good for you guys? Because then we meet usually the second Tuesday. That kind of spreads it out a little. So what is that? Do you have November?
November
I do.
28th.
28th, that's the day
Yeah.
after Thanksgiving?
I know.
They
Could
have
be.
to
Yeah, it's the
Thanksgiving
Monday after
weekend.
Oh, the
Thanksgiving.
Monday after, yeah, okay, that's right.
Is that a weird day?
No, I was thinking
fine.
that it
So
was.
how about that? November 28th? It, the very least, it could be a kind of a little bit of a deadline for me. And sometimes we have meetings on our calendar and they turn into email meetings.
Yeah,
Right.
Because it's like, okay, this is all I know. No
Right.
need to meet in person
Yeah.
necessarily. But I think right
having it on the
now to
schedule
hash
is
this
good.
stuff out is nice.
Yeah.
Especially if we're gonna try to do this in May. That's not that many days.
do you want to do 10 o'clock?
Yeah, is that good for you
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah.
And before,
Yeah, so can you hear me?
before everybody got here, what do you need? Do you wanna? Okay,
I need a pen.
okay. I'll leave it.
Okay.
Thank you. Can you that one?
So when is that?
We could, and we can
November
discuss this
28th.
maybe at the board meeting. I didn't know, I know New Hartford meets every other month. They meet during the day and then they meet in the evening. I mean, I don't think, I don't believe any of you have obligations during the day like Scott did. So we couldn't meet, but we could always have a board meeting at
Yeah,
2 in the afternoon.
Sally's
or
available.
Sally would be available in the morning. I mean, just as available, we could do this.
So
We could
what
do it
about- What
here.
about the public though?
What about the public? I was
Well,
just talking
they
to
can come
Necker
if
about
they
that. My
want to.
daughter works 6 to 6. She works 6 at night to 6 in the morning. She could never come to a board meeting. What if you work 3 to 11? You could never come to a board
Yeah.
meeting.
And, you know,
The bylaws though.
No, I think we just meet on Tuesdays.
I don't know. what
It doesn't say we meet in the evening.
I thought it said 6 o'clock.
Oh, does it say
I
6
believe
o'clock?
We'll have to look, yeah.
We used to meet at 7 when I first got here, but I
Yeah,
turned
right.
into a pumpkin. So maybe, but we could do that, but in an effort to be more accessible, I'm just saying, I think it isn't bad, and I think there are also people that don't drive in need.
Yep.
So I don't know, we don't have to decide that, but I
And
think
don't
it's something to
forget that
consider.
unless there's a crisis, we rarely have any large amount of people
I
come.
know, right?
I mean, the only time we had this year, the whole time we had all those people was about that program.
Right.
When we had enough people to make up for all the other days that we didn't have. And then some.
I did have.
And we
say
haven't
thank you
heard
to
from
me. A couple of
anybody
people
in the
said thank you to
public
me for doing
saying,
that
I wish
for
I could attend the meeting,
was
but
stressful.
I can't.
I don't think it's that
That's
once in
another
a while you
right.
get somebody.
Oh,
that-
right.
You know,
I
like
have
a
not had
school
people
board-
call ever.
No.
I've
The
never.
school board might hear from people like, you
Well,
only
the
have
school
your
board
meetings at
is
such
much
and such of a
more-
time.
people are
and we
more
can't
When I was
make it."
president.
Yeah.
Oh, you had the Friends issue.
Well, we had a lot of
Yeah.
problems.
Just don't
We
have
always-
any
we always had
friends.
people.
We have volunteers we call friends.
Yeah.
And there is I
we're
mean, it
doing
is kind of
okay
a neat
without-
idea.
We're doing okay without a formal organization, because
Yeah.
if we have the formal organization, we have to lay down the law.
Well,
This is what's gonna happen, these are the rules, this is how it goes, and then, some of the people aren't gonna like that.
but it's also a financial commitment too. Like it's, what has to happen is it has to be just like we are.
Yeah.
So there has to be an agenda, there has to be a meeting, there has to be an account, they have to have their own account. All the things that they were doing before really was just this kind of
It was just,
hybrid.
yeah,
They were never a friends group. They were
Oh,
never
sure.
officially a friends group. We've never officially had a friends group at Dunham Public Library. They used our 501c3 and they couldn't do that. They'd have to get their own. They'd have to get their own auditor. They have to have all their own books and everything in minutes. And it's a process that who wants to
yeah,
do?
exactly.
I think if we needed to get solid funding, for example, friends groups can help very much to get somebody to be, or libraries to be a school district public library. That's a fight people have to go through. You
Yeah.
have to get that voted on. We're already kind of
We
there.
already
If
have
we
that.
were gonna do something, I think it would be nice to have, gosh, my brain is not functioning. It's a foundation, like the community foundation. That some libraries have foundations, but if we partner with the community foundation, the only reason we want to have one is if, say, somebody has AT&T and AT&T stock or Apple stock or something that has value in its own format. If we were to receive a donation of stock, we'd have to liquidate it
Yeah,
right now, no matter what is going on, right? We can't keep the stock because we don't work that way. But it could be donated to the community foundation for us. So
I think
why?
we're doing
not?
okay the way
We
we
are
are,
totally
without
fine.
making more work
We don't
and
need to do
more
that.
dissension. Because
It would be really cool if we could get somebody to donate money to us via the community foundation. I'm
But
I'm good with that,
the
because
Friends
that's where,
before, it was mostly about the book sale. I
The
don't remember anything else they did, or
and the-
maybe they did, but I don't know what it was.
I think it was a group of nice people that
Yeah.
wanted to help the library, but we have groups of nice people that want to help the library that are here now.
Yeah, and then
And
I
that's all good.
agree,
If
I
they
don't
wanna
think
take
it's an
control
issue.
of things.
Yeah, no, we don't need that.
Yeah, and then, the issues with the money, that wasn't good.
Well, it was illegal.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's a little problematic, but I guess it wasn't. There was a lot of misunderstanding because I think it was just all of a sudden,
because it wasn't
they
something
were going
formal
and
that
acting
was,
as if they were.
we had
And they didn't realize that they weren't a true friends group. I don't think they realized the rules that went with it. That was all. And the misunderstanding went on for a number of years.
Personality Problems too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always do that kind of thing. Yeah, let's let.
All right, we don't need to-
Enough alone
Yeah,
with
we-
that.
That's right. We
So
don't.
we've been meeting
We can.
and-
I don't have anything else. I have a lot of things, but I don't think you can help me.
We're good for today.
So we'll meet back here, anytime you guys want to come, but I don't think you really need to get here before 1:30, but if you want to, Sue, if you
Yeah.
have any kind of things you want from me,
No, I think I'm okay.
Okay, you lived with me, so
So we're keeping a regular meeting at 6 o'clock.
we are,
Yeah,
until
I-
we
I
think
think I
about that.
brought up all
Think
the
about that it
topics.
might be, because I do know Utica Pub, not Utica Pub, I do know New Hartford does in every other, so that they can accommodate people who
Right.
work at night or whatever their situation is. Or what if you have school age kids? Like, this is a nice time for you,
Right,
if
right.
you know, or whatever. There are people that work other times than 9 to 5, and we don't accommodate them.
Well, nobody can accommodate everybody.
That's right.
Can't. And we keep it at 6 o'clock forever. I'm good. I just threw it out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Whatever.
All right, Mark, we're done.
No.